This is the original reality shock.com.
Who goes there? Original Raggamuffin with them trousers, them flared, you know? Yeah, it's Solo Banton. There, you know? Reality shock records. Boom. I grew up in Shepherd's Bush, West London, White City Estate, Becklow Gardens. My childhood was wonderful, you know, ups and downs like anybody, but that's how you learn, you know. I had a great family, a big family, 4 sisters, 1 brother, and just growing up on a housing estate, you know, so many different neighbors, so many friends, there's always something going on, you know, so yeah, it was very exciting, very, very exciting time. So yeah, West London every time. The first time I can remember or recollect, I must be 5, 6 years old, and you know, it's Sunday dinner is cooking. My dad switches on the gramophone, you know, and my mum and dad be playing music, playing reggae music. Some Israelites and Desmond Decker and them kind of tune and stuff like that, you know. That's my first memory. However, there is a family story that says as a toddler, 1, 2 years old, I was very clingy, wouldn't leave my mum alone, you know, wouldn't go to anybody, wouldn't give anybody a cuddle, I'd always be with my mum. And the first time anybody ever saw me leave my mum willingly was we was at our uncle's house, and he switched on the stereo and started playing music. And I climbed off my mum's lap and walked over to the stereo and stood up next to my uncle and watched him play the records. So when I say music is me, I mean it's me. The first time I picked up a microphone, I was like 11, about 11, 12 years old. My big brother had a sound system called King Sharma International, and he used to have the sound set up in his bedroom as well, you know, not the whole sound obviously, but he had the sound set up in his bedroom, and I used to watch him practice and watch him sing, and I called myself Professor Brown to style myself on Billy Boyo, and I picked up the mic and started singing there, you know, and then he took me to a dance. I don't know, I must have been early teens, and he took me to a dance in Simba Youth Community Centre, and I had to go there, you know. So the first time I really thought about doing anything like that, I was like 11 years old, 11, 12 years old. Yes, I have. I used to play a lot of percussion in school. I used to play xylophone, play steel pan. I used to teach steel pan, and I love producing. I produce a few artists. I've done a few songs with Deadly Hunter and some other artists. So yeah, I love producing. I love making music and playing music. You know, I used to play percussion in Aqua Levi's band as well. So yeah, it wasn't really my decision. You know, it was Chris Chemist that convinced me. I was happy just singing on sound systems. You know, and then I was producing, and Deadly Hunter introduced me, told me about this guy called Chris Chemist, who was a musician and a producer, and I met Chris, and I asked him to come to the studio and play guitar on a song that I was producing for Deadly Hunter, and there were some other people on the rhythm as well, but yeah, at the time we was voicing Deadly, and so we was in the studio just having a break, and so I went into the voicing booth and started DJing some of my old Soundman lyrics, you know. And when I came out, Chris was like, "You're good, I want to produce you, you should come to my studio and record, blah, 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 blah." And that's where it started from really, and Chris had me in there. We recorded a couple songs, Ganja Story and stuff like that, and then we made some videos, some freestyling videos, and Disrupt from Jatari contacted Chris and said that they had a rhythm that they wanted me to record on. And so Chris told me, and I was like, no, that's not for me. I'm not ready for that. I'm not good like that. I'm better at producing and stuff. And but Chris convinced me to do that, and we recorded it. They pressed it and released it, and that was a song called "Talk to Me." And from there, it just went. So we give thanks. So it wasn't really my decision, you know. Chris encouraged me, dragged me. Well, the solo part, my friends used to call me Solo, and even they used to call me Han Solo. When I used to do graffiti, and my tag was Han Solo. That's when I was into hip hop a lot, you know. And the reason why they used to call me Solo was because I wasn't scared of doing my own thing. If the crowd was going that way, if I wanted to go that way, I would go that way by myself. So they used to call me Solo, and then Star Wars came out, and then boom, they called me Han Solo. The Banton, I got the name of Banton because once I started singing and stuff, I used to sing all the time, constantly, non-stop, full of lyrics. So there's like, oh, you're a Banton, hence Solo Banton. Everything, life. I used to, you know, I just sing about everything. I make up lyrics about anything. So, just life in general, you know. My children inspire me a lot as well, but just mainly life, you know. We make up songs about anything and anything, you know. Again, anywhere where the vibes take you. You could be on a plane and something happens on the plane and you catch a vibe. Could be anywhere. I think I write my best lyrics when I'm driving. Yeah, especially when I'm driving the truck, you know. I find I write my best lyrics then because then I'm not concentrating on the music and I'm not concentrating on what I'm writing on. Because I'm concentrating on the driving, the vibe and the melodies are more natural because it's a secondary thing, so to speak, you know. So I think I write best when I'm driving. Whenever I've got a big project to do, like the album, I usually go back to work and start driving trucks again because yeah, I think I do my best writing while I'm driving. But anyway, you can write anywhere. I used to do that a lot, and I want to do it again. To be honest with you, I don't do it as much now. I mean, if we're in a studio having a studio session and somebody's writing something, then you know we will input because it's a creative process and we love the creativity, so we will put an input in there. But as in writing a whole song, I did the last song I done was with Deadly Hunter and Chieftain Joseph. I wrote that song. That's the last time I could say I wrote lyrics for other artists when the three of us done that combination. But it's something that I love doing. I would love to do again. So. It's 50-50. Maybe in my case, you could say it leans more towards the message, because that's what I'm gonna do. But I mean, sometimes I make songs that's just about dancing and having fun too. So it has to be at least 50-50, at least, if not leaning more towards the message. Because it's no good for me. It's no good having great music and a great rhythm track, and you sing a bag of crap on it. Then I'm not going to enjoy that song, regardless how good the music is, you know. So it has to be at least 50-50, if not leaning more towards the message. Yes, we have. It's the first album that we've done that all the music was done in Reality Shock Studio. The first two albums, there was rhythm tracks on there by different producers, different record labels, you know. But this is the first album we sat down and said, yeah, we're doing it, and we've done everything from start to finish, you know. And we had a concept of how we wanted it to sound. We didn't know the tracks, but we know the kind of sound that we was looking for, and the ideology of what we wanted. So yeah, it's been a slightly different approach. Oh, my definition of an old ragamuffin is it's just how you approach life, you know. Not necessarily following the rules. I don't want to make it sound like a criminal or a law breaker, you know, but you don't have to follow the trend and do what everyone else is doing. Old Raggamuffin does things his way and makes it work just as good, if not better, you know. For a poor example, you know, they might say you need to hang this picture, you might need to get a 2-inch screw with a Phillips screwdriver and drill it in at a 90-degree angle, you know. Whereas an old ragamuffin, if we ain't got no screw, we just find a nail and take a shoe and hang the picture, you know. So you get the job done in any way that it needs to done, you know. We just get the job done. Old ragamuffin. Because this time was when music was influencing me the most. It was the most influential time for me in music. Teenager, growing up, and so that's when music was really speaking to me and really influential. So it's always going to be the time that I look back with the most fondness, you know. Anybody who doesn't want that message of unity and that message of love, you know, and there's people that don't want that message of unity and that message of love, you know, they prefer us to be at war than at peace. So those people don't want us to talk Rastafari. I've had 2 or 3 instances where people have said to me, I've had a promoter driving me to the venue to go and do a show, and he said to me, yeah, tonight we don't have to do too much of that jar stuff. So I turned around and said to him, well, I think you've got the wrong artist then, you know? And I've heard people record that on songs. I've had somebody send me a rhythm track and say to me, and it wasn't a problem that they said it to me, you know? It was more the way that they said it. Because I don't mind, of course a producer could have an idea of a song. But the way this guy demanded that I didn't mention Rastafari in the song, it just kind of put me off, you know? And I'm like, you've come to the wrong artist. So when I say they, I mean anybody who wants to stop that opinion, you know. They're talking about free speech, but yet still people are trying to stop me from singing about my love and my faith and singing about peace and unity. So they know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you, you know. Well, me and Kevin was in the studio reasoning, and when you just look at society, look at mankind, look at humankind, you know, there's so many mistakes that we are making, obvious mistakes, that nobody wants to try and make a real effort in fixing when you talk about pollution and stuff like this, you know. And I'm like, is anybody awake? Can we not see what's going on? Or are we all just walking around mindless, sleepwalking? We're all just walking around looking at our phones, you know. It's like we're not really here, you know. We're sleepwalking as a society, as a race, you know. No, we wrote it and recorded it together at the same time. We spoke about doing a song together, and Maka said to me to, once we choose the rhythm, send in the rhythm and an idea. So I came up with a chorus, and I recorded that and sent it to Maka, and yeah, he said he liked it. And then that's when we got together. We rearranged the chorus that I wrote, because once we had the guideline to go with, and then we sat down and came together many times, and we wrote it together, and we recorded it together at the same time as well. And that's why it is so intricate. And it was a great experience for me, you know. So big up Maka. Don't know. Dragfoot is you have to get up and go for things. If you want anything to happen, you have to get up and do it. If you want breakfast, you have to get up and make it. Whereas it seems when people are chasing their dreams, they like to drag their foot. They like to take their time. They hope that it's going to fall into their lap. They just sit on the sofa hoping that breakfast will appear, so to speak, you know. So this is where the concept of drag foot comes from. And within just talking about the music industry itself, me and Chris Chemist have both seen many people who have so much talent, but don't put everything that's needed to take it further to the next step. But in anything in life, really, you know, you have to put your fullness into that. You have to put your energy into your dream, and don't just say, this is what I hope could happen, and sit there and wait for it to fall in your lap, you know. Because if you're doing that, then to me you're dragging your feet, you know. You're a drag foot. Transition is a very personal song. It's the most personal song I've ever written and recorded. It's very personal. All true life events. So yeah, it's very personal. It holds a dear place to me, you know. I've known of Mikey for a very long time. From the 80s, I know Michael. I've known of Mikey, but we met, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, for the first time. And Mikey's a very, well, oh no, it's longer than that actually. It's maybe about 10 years ago, actually, I met Mikey. And he's just such a warm and loving person that the first time I met him, I felt like I knew him for a long time, you know? So it was great to be able to finally record a song with Mikey General as well. Big up Mikey. Love him. I'm not sure what makes it, I just know that it is. I have a theory that the tempo is more consistent with your heartbeat, with the rhythm of your heart. That's my theory, I don't know. But it just seems to be that way because I've done many shows in many countries where I can't speak the language and they don't understand my language, but still they can understand the message of the music. So that's why I call it a universal language, you know. When someone doesn't speak a word of English and you don't speak a word of their language, but through a translator they can tell you they understood what you were singing about, says to me there's something in there, you know. So that's why I call it a universal language. And just because of all of the places that I've been and I see other people going, it's amazing. Exactly that. To be sarcastic. You know, it's just it's a serious subject, you know, that you have to be allowed to express yourself. And so many people are able to say they're proud of being this and proud of being that without any problems. But I know it's a trend that if I say I'm proud to be black, it makes some people uncomfortable. And so yeah, there was a hint of sarcasm in there because I don't understand why. I don't understand why. It's okay for us to say we're proud to be Man United fans or we're proud to be from this postcode. But and no one wants to complain about that. But the moment I say I'm proud to be black, people start getting nervous and have a nervous twitch and and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what that's about. I don't think it's all you need, but I think it's 80% to get you through a day, especially a hard day, you know. And I wouldn't even say it's my ethos as an artist. That's my ethos as me, as a human, you know. So I wouldn't say it's all you need because we need a lot of strength and we need a lot of perseverance and other things to get through life. Life is hard, the system is hard, but 80-90% of that you have a better chance of succeeding or even surviving, making it through the day, is if we can have laughter as much as possible. And I just think it's healthy. I think laughter is healthy. It's 5 minutes long because once I got into the vibe of writing, I couldn't stop writing for that particular track and the rhythm track, you know. And the concept behind it is just what it says, you know. Once I was a rolling stone, but now I'll come back home, you know. So there was three different concepts within the three verses. So the first verse is about it's good to go away, it's good to be on tour and seeing all these lovely places, but it's even greater to come back home, you know, and returning home, you know. The second verse is musically, because again, I love to work with many different producers, many different record labels, you know. But there's a special connection, obviously, between me and Chris Chemist, reality show. So coming back home to record, to do this album, was that same wonderful feeling. And the third verse was coming back home to myself, trying to find my inner righteousness, find coming back to the actual essence of me after being brainwashed and distracted by society and the things that life throw at us, you know. So that's the idea behind it. Once I was a Rolling Stone, and I'll come back home. And it's 5 minutes long because that's how the vibe was, and I just had to keep on writing. And I didn't want to shorten any of the verses that I'd written, so we kept it at that level. Bantan style. You know, when you release an album, it's a real precious thing to you. It's like raising a child, you know. So it's nice to do that with somebody who you're close with. I'm not saying me and Chris is having a baby or nothing like that, you know. But just for that, and it's a case of, it's a matter of loyalty, from my perspective, really. Nobody has put as much effort into my career than Reality Shock Records, and so why wouldn't I want to give Reality Shock Records those projects as albums, you know? So it's just a partnership. I'm not saying I would never do an album with somebody else. I might well do an album with somebody else, but yeah, it's just that, you know, it's a matter of loyalty and closeness, and that's my brother. So when you're taking on a big task, you want to do it with somebody who's close to you, who you know has got your back. And I know Chris Kevins has got my back. I think I don't think it's a problem if you see it as a different entity. I think there's a lot of people out there that's making music, and they're making their own style of music, which is fine. Reggae itself has influenced so many different genres of music, drum and bass, drum, reggaeton, whatever. So when you view it like that, or when I view it like that, it's not a problem. I get a bit disheartened when it's advertised as reggae or roots reggae, when they have memorabilia or images of Rastafari, whether it's flags and stuff like that. And then when you get to the event, it's not roots music. It's something that sounds more like dubstep and techno mixed together. I find that disheartening, you know? Because if I go to the shop and I want to buy spinach, and when I get home and open the bag, I've got a can of baked beans, I'm going to be disappointed, you know? So I get a bit confused with this and a bit disheartened with this, you know? If you're advertising roots reggae, then let's hear some roots reggae. If you're advertising something else, then fine. We'll go and listen to something else, you know? So I find that a bit weird. I find it a bit weird when you're in the dance and everybody's looking at the speakers. You've got all of these great artists behind the sound singing, and everyone's just standing in front of the speakers, you know? Again, this comes from the techno. This is a techno thing. So I don't have a problem with music moving forward and people trying their own thing and putting their own twist and their turn to it. I think that's great. That's just creativity, you know? But if you advertise spinach, then I want spinach. If I come and ask you for spinach, don't give me baked beans, you know? Now, in this present moment in time, it's quite exciting. As in, there's some nice new conscious roots artists coming through. So let's just pray that this trend continues. There was a time, 5, 10 years ago, when it was very disappointing. It's a personal thing, but I don't want to hear negative. I don't want to hear negativity. You know, one of the reasons why I stopped playing my sound and left it to JD and others to play, because I didn't feel comfortable playing slackness music and gangster tunes and stuff like that. You know, so there was a period when it was very disappointing. But it's nice to see all of these new artists and producers trying to make reggae coming out of Jamaica again. I heard a story, I don't know if it's true, but apparently when Rory was producing the John 9 album, somebody said to him, "Oh, you're producing European music now," because it was reggae and not dancehall. I don't know if that story is true, but if it's true, how sad is that? That someone in Jamaica doesn't know reggae music, you know? But I'm sure it's not true. I'm sure it's been embellished and exaggerated, you know? But at the moment, I'm excited because it's nice to hear young, conscious artists coming out of Jamaica. We just need some more young, conscious artists coming out of the UK. That's what we really need. I think anybody that takes up this craft should be praised, really. I think anyone who's got the confidence to pick up a microphone, regardless how far they make it in the business, should be praised. As far as my favourites, when you're talking about lyricists, I don't think, obviously the first name that comes to mind is Kabaka Pyramid. I think he's a lyricist, you know. I think even as a dancehall artist, I think Agent Sasco is a lyricist, you know. I find that, for me, I find there's two kind of DJs, you know. There's a DJ, there's one who makes songs, and there's one who's a lyricist, you know. And so I'll put Sasco in that part there. I'll put Kabaka Pyramid in that part there. Out the UK, I believe most of us are lyricists, because that's a UK thing. UK was always about lyrics. From the 70s, 80s, it was always about lyrics. I think most artists in the UK. I mean, you're talking about UK artists. I don't think you can't. Maccabee is in a class by himself. Just his subject matter and his way of explaining that subject to you. I think he's in a class of his own. A lot more good music, I hope. You know, I'm in this thing. This is me. Music is me. You know, so yeah, we're just gonna keep pushing on with this album, and then and let's carry on making good music. I would love to get back into doing some more producing again and writing for some young, conscious UK artists. Link me. I'd love to do that and get into and do some more producing. I really enjoyed working on this album and being hands on it still. So I've got the fever to be producing again. You know. But yeah, just music, one way or another. It's music. That's what you can expect from me. There's one guarantee you have in life: solo music, in one format or another. Oh, many. I can't. That's the list is too long. 'Cause it's just it's the creativity is what we crave, is what we love. You know. So any anybody who's great, anybody who's good, anybody who's like-minded, positive, and has that kind of message, then we look forward to working with all of them. Yeah. I'm a music addict. When I made that song, some people thought I meant I'm a reggae music addict. No, I'm a music addict. I listen to everything. I listen to everything, and I enjoy everything. And actually, I think you can learn a lot from music that you don't like. So when I hear something that I don't like, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm never doing that. I'm never singing about that subject. So you learn from it, you know. So I listen to everything, you know. If you get into my car, you'll hear me playing everything. Hip hop, soul music. Like my first job on the sound system was playing soul music. I was the soul music selector. My first radio show, I was playing soul music. So I love all kind of music, you know. Not really. Not really. Not really. There's times when I don't want to hear music, and then the best antidote for that, or the best escapism for that, is family. Um, it, it's family and love, really. But no, I don't think there is an antidote. Music addict is music addict. You know what I mean? I'll be walking through a shop and stop and say, "Oh, I like that tune. What's this? Shazam." So no, I don't think there is. I don't think there is. If you're a true music addict, you know. Some people say I'm a music addict and they listen to music once a week. No, music addict, you know, all of the time. Even now, when I'm doing this interview, I've got music in my head. I think the best reward that I've ever gotten, or I could ever get from doing this, what that helped me sleep at night, is when someone comes to me and says to me, "Your music helped me through a bad situation," or "Your music helped me through life in one way." I think that's the greatest reward, you know. So while there's people still messaging me, or people coming up to me and saying to me, "I love your music, it makes me feel good," or "It helps me through a situation," this is the greatest reward. This what music.